and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. We are the Dudley Boys of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick here to review editing on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete with a very good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review last night's AEW Dynamite. Boys, it's been a while. It's been a while.
I thought this was excellent. I thought this was an excellent TV show. I only have two things to bitch about. Only two things to bitch about, really. And I thought there was elements of the show that were truly blow away fantastic. If you've seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about. But some decent range, great action. Still love that building, and I love that crowd. I don't love the building. I like the building. Let's not go nuts here. Love's a strong word. It's glossy in a way that it's not the AEW arena. It happens to be a small, intimate, loud, raucous building with a really good atmosphere. That ain't the AEW arena. Just to put that across.
I loved the building less this week, but that felt the same with the Chicago thing. And it was really cool the first week.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like, it's normal that novelty can wear off and stuff. It's a reality, these residences. Pull back the curtain a little bit. Like, we could have all got together for the first time in a while after Wakey Summer for Raw or SmackDown or NXT, but we picked AEW because we're biased scum, because I loved it too. I love this Dynamite too. I think AEW, nothing on this Dynamite was quite as hot for me as, for example, that singular Becky Lynch CM Punk interaction on Raw. However, as a product, I think it's clear in WWE at the moment. Like, genuinely, like the little bit of time off I took from both shows to come back, it's been so much easier to drop back into the world of AEW than it has been WWE. I just think there's so much potential at the moment with this roster as well. Then it doesn't feel like they're wearing out the combinations with the All-Star 8-man matches or the, these Dynamite cards, really, where you could be kind of forgiven for thinking, well, you're giving that, Gabe Kidd and Darby Allin's another example. Well, you're giving away their kind of first major exchange. What are you going to do? Nothing of significance feels like it's being given away, but they do feel like they're being quite generous with the stuff you're seeing. And I like more stories than not are ones that I actually want to see paid off.
Before we get into the show, very quick thoughts on them moving All Out to earlier on the Saturday. Was it the 20th of September, I think it is now?
We discussed in the preview, didn't we? Because I thought they should, and Sidgwick thought they shouldn't.
No, not necessarily. Don't put words in my mouth.
Okay.
I'm more than capable of talking. I said they shouldn't make a show so long that it bleeds into the WWE.
Right.
So it's bleed into the head-to-head or whatever. I want it to be... I'm glad they've made the move to a degree. Do I care? Oh, I should care. It's my job. So let's form an opinion here. This whole head-to-head thing, I reckon, had it been against regular old, mediocre at the very best, actually, I think it was well below average. Well below average, considering, again, the resources WWE has at its disposal to be an excellent wrestling product, or even a excellent sports entertainment product. If it was going up against Clash in Paris with that card on paper, just go for it. Why not go for it? Because it's yet another Paul Levesque special where it's not that good a card. It really isn't, but they are promoting it in front of a enthusiastic and underserved market to artificially inflate how hot everything is. Okay, if All Out is going against that, go on then. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see what the impact is. But it's the return of AJ Lee and Brock Lesnar, and they're going to really hype it because they have to, with it being the debut on a new platform. So under these sort of, I guess, extenuating circumstances, I think they've made the correct move. If I want to put my boring business head on, I'm more of like an analyst of the creative and the action rather than business. The precedent set by Allin Texas might indicate that early start time domestically is a pretty, provable good idea, because the Allin Texas buy amount was very, 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 very strong. It was one of the best performing pay-per-views ever. But then again, I mean, that show, the anticipation, the feeling surrounding it, it was superbly built and it felt really special. This might struggle because it doesn't have that context, but we'll see. It's certainly worth exploring it, seeing if it's was All in Texas simply such an undeniable show that it was going to draw people regardless, or is this 2 p.m., 2-3 Central, or is it an actual viable thing going forward? And will WWE decide to do that? That's one thing I can't see them doing,
Moving it as well.
For this specific event and going forward, it feels like one tradition too far. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's one of the reasons why I'm glad AEW have done this, because it does sort of say, right then, your move. This is an old war, but a brand new one, because they're both now competing for dollars. Like, AEW has had pay-per-view domestically since launch, but this is WWE re-entering that world a little bit with this ESPN thing. It's confusing. I've read different things about how exactly America's going to do this, but you can buy a package that has it, but then equally you can buy a reduced package where you still have to pay for the WWE shows. So they are kind of asking for your cash again, which is why AEW has established this quality bar, I guess, with the pay-per-views, where like we kind of promise you that this will be worth your money and your investment. So All Out was a good example of that, because WWE didn't have to do that with it was NXT and Saturday Night's Main Event, wasn't it? With the two shows. And by this point, everybody's got comfy with being able to tune into those for free. I think it was imperative that AEW did this. And I know there's going to be some people might take this as an optics defeat. I don't. Like, they want your money down to start your evening, your afternoon of wrestling, whatever it might be, with AEW, with this idea that, right, well, you've paid for the whole show and we've kept you on the hook long enough, and there's a big main event coming, whatever that ends up being, like a big main event coming, stay tuned for that. The Fed will still be there tomorrow if you want to stick with us tonight, or if you want to have your thing, you can get to it on delay or whatever. They're looking for that, and I think it's smart. This is a bit of the old school stuff, isn't it? This is Nitro starting an hour early, and when it wasn't an 8 p.m. start, it was a 7:57 and all those kind of things. But now there's money. Like, you're targeting like people who might actually, to Sidge's point about this, it's AJ Lee. I don't like to use him as an example, but they're going to be running with Brock Lesnar and John Cena as well. The promotion around this is going to be probably something akin to like the Netflix debut for Raw. They're going to go hard with this show for people's cash and for people's investment emotionally and financially. So if you're already on the air, I think you're doing half the job. Do you know what I mean? Like, it behooves AEW to put a good card together, because that's the expectation of them on pay-per-view. Yeah. But in this case in particular, if you can draw any of those people away, even if it's just you know what, like, WrestlePalooza can wait till tomorrow, you've sort of done the hard work there a little bit. Yeah, so I've covered the business side of it. Not that, again, I'm particularly, credible in that regard. In terms of the other side of the argument, the optics, I think they're absolutely fine. Like, if we go head-to-head with WWE and the return of Brock Lesnar and AJ Lee, we're going to get thrashed. Yeah, no I mean, come on, they're the distant number 2. Everyone knows this. Yeah. They revel in it. They want to be it. Everyone's accepted that that's what AEW is and where it is positioned. It's WWE who's treating it like a more, like, sort of close competition as opposed to AEW. AEW were happy, I think, and remain to be at the start of this year. All right, okay, well, right, you're in a boom. We can't really compete with that. We've tried to compete tonally with your product in 2023. Dismal failure. Let's not do that anymore. Yep. You know what? What we'll do is we'll take this and we'll get we'll take it not as a defeat but an opportunity. Yeah, we're not drawn because yous are hot. We'll go to the smaller buildings and do better TV and more vibrant, atmospheric, loud television in smaller venues. They've accepted it and made the best of it. So I don't think the optic, I mean, they don't give a toss. They don't want to be number 1 anymore. Yeah. Like, through the business model. So I don't consider it an optics defeat. If anything, right, I think it's almost funny that they've kind of they probably had this idea for a while. I'll move it up to the afternoon. But let's just wait. Let's make it logistically impossible, logistically a bit more difficult for them to do it if they want. If, in fact, WWE decides we'll bring our show forward too, again, it just makes them look pathetic. So, like, they're almost daring WWE to change the habit of a lifetime. I don't think it's an optics defeat at all. I think it's just all right, I think AEW have got to run WrestleMania weekend for the pattern next year, by the way. Not in Vegas, but like in a situation where they know...
They get killed on Collision. They get killed on Collision during WrestleMania.
They know that more eyes will be on WrestleMania. That is a cast iron guarantee and a fact. But they also know that there will be a immensely satisfied core that will actually make a point of being like, no, thank you, biggest wrestling event of the year. I'm going with AEW. And I think there is a fun little win for them when even the extremely small audience pick the AEW show, because some will, and some will tweet about it, and some will make it known that they've picked this AEW show. I'm not saying you even stack it with the biggest matches you've got, but something, maybe like a world title match or something. I think it would be fun for the people that choose that show, and there will be enough. They could draw a small house for it, you know? It doesn't have to be anywhere near Vegas or even the West Coast or anything like that. But I think this is the year to do it. Like, they're not going to be in town. Like, Tony Khan's kind of managed to move Ring of Honor away from WrestleMania weekend, as he kind of always wanted, really, but he was respecting the romance of that weekend for the hardcores. I think this is the year in a completely different part of America to just treat yourself to a big AEW arena show, just to see, just to be like, yeah, we're not competing, but that's not what we do, is it, with a challenger brand? Like, you have your big weekend. We're just over here quietly promoting a wrestling show. Watch how many people like revel in the fact that like a WrestleMania is not for me, thanks, because Hangman Page has got the belt on the line or whatever.
I don't think it makes sense to do that. But at the same time, I'd quite like to see what it would look like. And it would be funny if they did. I mean, it's well overdue at this point. They do get murdered on Collision all the time. But at the minute, not that... This is what annoys me about all of it. It's like, nothing's going to change. Optics, who cares? Things can change like that if you're using that as a barometer of what you should and shouldn't do.
WWE have got some data, haven't they? This is intensified this year. They know something.
Apparently, they don't want AEW to get a better media rights deal, because it's looking like they're going to be around for a long time, if in fact they get an improved one from last time.
They're trying to prop TNA into the remaining spaces.
Yeah, I mean, it's pathetic.
it's so lame, isn't it?
Absolutely pathetic. Because it's one of those where there's no real jeopardy for me doing this. Like, what if AEW wins these optics battles over and over again? Well, they could be number one. That ain't happening. So I don't know why either of them are bothering, or why the Fed's bothering with all this. However, like, it can't hurt AEW if they decided to just do, maybe even at a minor loss, a big arena show on WrestleMania weekend, Saturday or Sunday, right? Like, if for no other reason than to like draw a really defensive, pissed off Paul Levesque and Nick Khan into making yet more strategic mistakes, because they're healing themselves with this. They are being heels, WWE, throughout 2025 with this nonsense. If they
have turned,
if they shut up, man. If they put on a WrestleMania weekend show next year, WWE will get so flapped. They will just really, really take that personally and go, no, we're going to do this. We're going to let them punch themselves out in this fight that has got one winner. You know what I mean? It's just dumb. It's all dumb.
Welcome to AEW Mania, where the best wrestle.
Yeah. Call it that. Call it the Colossal Tussle.
Yes!
Yeah.
That was, if you don't know, that was Vince McMahon's original name for the first WrestleMania before Howard Finkel said, no, a much better name would be WrestleMania.
Run New York City, Colossal Tussle.
We booked it.
Well, let's get into this week's episode of Dynamite. It opens with Gabe Kidd saying, tick-tock. We're on his time now. Where are you, Darby Allin? This dump isn't big enough for you to be hiding in the rafters. Darby Allin then jumps in from behind. They send each other into an exposed turnbuckle. Kidd takes him down with a big lariat, but then starts jacking with the fans. And Darby hits a coffin drop to the outside, tries a coffin splash in the corner. Kidd puts a choke on him, but Darby Allin rakes his eyes. Wheeler Yuta appears. Darby Allin takes out him and then takes out Kidd with a springboard coffin splash. Grabs his skateboard. It's covered in tacks. Yuta gets hit with an ollie. I don't know. I'm not a skateboarding guy.
I don't know.
Something off the second rope that sends tacks into Wheeler
Ollie
Yuta's
used to get you about 1,000 on Tony Hawk's, didn't it? It wasn't one of the best ones.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool
to
do it,
Out comes Mox, Claudio, and Marina Shafir. But before they can do anything, you see a big H in the sky. It's Hook's symbol. He comes out.
That music stinks.
Do you not like it? I don't mind it.
I hate it.
I liked it on the vignettes, and I think that's as a result I've extended the latitude to it.
I've missed all this. I had no idea what was going on.
They fell out with Action Bronson. He fell out with them and they elected to stop using it. He made some like, do you remember there was like, we aggregated it. It was like,
said the culture was weird. Or
yeah,
something.
the backstage culture is strange. And they were like, oh, sod you then. And then they've got their own like sort of Frank Sinatra, Rat Pack adjacent type thing.
Yeah.
Tell all the girls I'm back in town, I think it was. And they used it for his vignettes and it's just extended to his entrance.
I don't think it's good at all.
No?
Nah.
We got a bit of grief last week.
Either way, before he can get involved, Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs fly past him. Your Hook brawls with Yuta, I think, to the back. Willow's there to brawl, obviously with Shafir. The Ops Death Riders, Kid, Allin fights backstage. Kid chokes Allin, screaming, "You think this is a game? I want to see the whites in your eyes while I choke you out." Tries to kill Darby Allin with a hammer at this point. Thankfully, he misses. Darby throws powder in his eyes, gets a rag, puts him in a body bag, and drives off with him with it tied to the back of a pickup truck whilst Taz calls Gabriel Kidd Body Bag Jones.
I'm not laughing. It's not funny. Right.
Crime is no joke.
Well, crime's no joke, is it? Right. I understand why people would like this, and it did, do the actual... It fulfilled the objective of creating a hot start to the show, getting the audience up for it. If you want to be like really dry and clinical about like, this is what it set out to do, it did it. It set the tone. The crowd was enthused by it. All the crowd liked it. I thought this was really overproduced, like really overproduced. One more thing as well, because I might forget to mention this, because I'm going to be in like just delirium talking about this main event. This sort of stuff and the quality of the main event does distract you from the fact that Kenny Omega's been feuding with Don Callis for about 14 years. And that the Ops and the Death Riders and Willow and Shafir, it's always hot in the buildings, but my God, a lot of this has been going on since May. And after All in Texas, when you thought, maybe naively, that's when they all get sort of theirs and they get put away forever. It's just, you forget when things are hot and you've got like a load of different directions happening in front of you at the exact same time. Like a lot of this stuff's been going on for quite some time and it's potentially, for me anyway, a bit uninspiring. I had some problems with this, multiple. I'll run through them. Yeah, it was hot. People loved it. So maybe I'm in the wrong and overthinking it as per usual. Do I even mention the entrance themes? Again, just it makes it feel like a produced TV show, a produced scripted TV show. This has got to be, I don't know, is it a Warner directive of like, or is it just one of those things where, it's wrestling, this is what happens in wrestling now. It just doesn't feel like this unbridled, like, chaos has just spilled out.
Because Willow didn't get one, and it was better for it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She's out there to help as well.
Yeah.
That felt more urgent, didn't it?
If they are, I'm not saying, again, you have to do the opposite of WWE at all times. You don't. But if you do want to differentiate your product from WWE's, and they claim to want to do this, and the fans claim that they want this, like, why don't you put a stop to, unless it's like a proper special occasion, like Kenny Omega returns from injury after a year, or whatever, unless it's a really specific example where the pop makes it, stop doing it. It'll just, I think it would very subtly and gradually help this idea of, it's not WWE, this is a different promotion. So I didn't like that, but then again, it's just, I'm screaming into a void at this point. I'm aware. The Gabe Kidd, Darby Allin stuff, it was really hot when we were ringside. Like just that bit where Gabe Kidd fired back with a lariat after like getting, it just looked like that match is going to be really hot when it happens, and I expect it to happen on Wednesday, Maybe it'll go to All Out, but I feel like No Rules, not a massive marquee match, but a one for the sickos. It's a good send-off to this residency, but whatever. It was really hot when they were in and around the ring. As soon as it got backstage, for me, it just got ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I understand there's not really much of a difference between wielding a steel chair and a hammer, realistically. They are both instruments that you could use to seriously hurt someone, right? But you don't want to bring attention with the use of a hammer to the fact that, next to that steel chair looks rubbish. You know, never use a weapon, even though the whole point was for Gabe Kidd to miss, right? That was the whole point. In no context, on no planet, much less no wrestling promotion, would you ever see a wrestler get a hammer and use it in the way that Gabe Kidd intended to use it. Ever. Because the person would get the brains blown out, you know? So don't do it. It looked ridiculous. And because it looked ridiculous, and you are telling me, he's going to miss that because you'd never in a million years see that for every single reason imaginable, it just makes the chair shots look stupid and fake. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't do something that would realistically kill someone because it makes everything else you do on your wrestling TV show look absolutely ridiculous. I'm still made right. Yeah. I can sense you gearing up to talk. I couldn't stand that spot. It looked absolutely ridiculous because it brings to mind that idiot Triple H wielding that idiotic sledgehammer with his hand on the side. It's like, it looks like a croquet mallet, not a sledgehammer. It's the dumbest use of a weapon ever because all it did was tell you, you can't use it properly. So why use it in the first place, Mr. Cinema? Mr. Psychology? Mr. Slow It Down? You know what I mean? Yeah. Sounds to me like you're a moron and you're the one who's got the temerity to tell me that I'm the mark and I don't get it and you've got these grandmaster plans. That sledgehammer and that bloke annoy me to no end. So I really hated, I'm going to use a hammer on you. That would never connect in a million years. So don't tell me you're going to try and do it. Fake as out. The chloroform, just say it's chloroform. Because they were saying there's something on that rag X. You know what it is?
I can smell it.
Yeah, you know what it is. And it's like, well, it's a crime. You know what I mean? I thought this was altogether too silly. Not helped as well. I rate Gabe Kidd. At the same time, I can understand why Gabe Kidd's like quite polarizing in that some people think, and I'm one of them most of the time, that Gabe Kidd has a brilliant pro wrestling character and he can convincingly play it. Like a nasty, violent thug. More of that for me, please. Like more of that. Just looks like someone, Gabe Kidd's here. Oh, God, he's so intense and like he's really, really volatile. I don't want to be in this guy's vicinity at all. I think he plays that role quite well. Other people disagree, and I get it sometimes. He's very, very, very exaggerated, you know? I can get why some people think he's playing a hard man, even though I think he's got that energy personally. I do not need to hear him do a monologue. It was so scripted and deliberate and not like, it just didn't feel like he was talking in a real context at all. Like, it was almost poetic, like, I'm going to make you see the whites of your eyes like mine did when I was like, you wouldn't say that in a fight. And you're meant to be the guy who's more of a fighter than a wrestler. So it was just all over for me. Usually I like body bag stuff, but when it was one thing on top of the other, I was just done with the segment.
Gabe Kidd's so much better in the brawl than that promo. It's like, can we go to a different pub? Gabe Kidd's here. But like if Gabe Kidd walked into that pub and then started his assault on everybody's nice time, with a Shakespearean piece to camera, he'd be like, he's actually no bother. Like, he's lost his edge. I'm not threatened by him anymore. I thought this was better than the sum of its parts because I broadly agree with Sidge. However, I love the story they're telling with Darby Allin stepping fearlessly into the Death Riders kind of old control that they used to have. This is the use of Everest that I was looking for. There was a bit of criticism and a bit of pushback around it. You realise he climbed Everest? That reminded me of when like Punk exasperatedly went, you know, we're running Wembley. And you were like, yeah, come on. Like that was happening with the Everest thing. And I think they've nailed it, is this idea, like, why should Darby Allin fear the Death Riders ever again? Or anyone for that matter. But the Death Riders are this biggest, most dangerous threat in AEW, and no longer will he be the one that sat there with the other baby faces being like, what the hell are we going to do about this? Because he's been up and down Everest. And that is the energy that Darby Allin brings to this.
Sounds like you made it sound like he was popping to the shops there. He's been up and down Everest.
Well, that's what the Death Riders are now.
Yeah.
That's popping to the shops of Darby Allin because he's been up and down Everest. Like, it's nothing to him. It's a big Tesco at best, even on a Christmas weekend. Yeah. And I love that. That's the theme of Darby Allin and Jon Moxley, and it's the reason why Jon Moxley is putting so many barriers in front of Darby Allin, because even he now knows he's done worse than I can ever do. What was I going to say about the hammer?
Something about a bag for life, maybe, in there.
Yes, use a bag for life on Jon Moxley. Pay the whole thing off. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, strangle him with a bag for life. Good input, Wilbourn. Now I was thinking about the hammer. Hogan doing it to The Rock after that amazing promo, and nobody talks about that. How have we just ruined one of the best Raw moments ever? He smashed him in the head with a hammer, then smashed the ambulance with the truck, just to be on the safe side. Is he not dead yet? Oh yeah, he's definitely dead. Comes back 2 weeks later. You're Rudy Bucandias at WrestleMania. How are you alive? Yeah, it is too stupid.
It's stupid, man. It's one of those where, is it? How does this keep happening, right? How does this keep happening? Tony Khan historically prides himself on and has actually delivered on the promises to listen. And he's the most very recent example of that is he has said, we're not going to do an immediate cash-in. We want to, and he did a kayfabe explanation, which I really appreciated, even though I wish he'd been in front of it, to be fair. How did you not know that AEW fans weren't going to want to watch a WWE staple, Where he said, I want to promote the matches, obviously, so and the athletes should be ready to defend the titles and all this stuff about the executing the contract. So that's changed, that's been tweaked. Since the Death Riders launched, the least favorite part of that entire act was the crime sprees. Let's murder via bleach Orange Cassidy.
I quite enjoyed it. I will say it might be my favourite part because I knew Sid was going to come in and savage it each week.
Drink this, asshole. I forget about when you say crimes, I always think of the Rock and Roll Express title.
I know, you know what I mean?
Got him. But I forgot about the bleach drinking. I have allowed myself to
kidnapping,
cat burglar.
The cat burglar.
He was sneaking behind Hangman Page.
People openly mocked, ridiculed it, right? And then guess what happens? As the months progress, and the caliber of opponent that and wrestler that Mox feuds with gets a lot better. There's not many crimes against Hangman Page, just beatdowns, just run of the mill, but really well performed heel gang beatdowns. And then that was better, and the Death Riders are really acclaimed, and then this is all heating up. I'm in time for All in Texas. That's probably more crimes after this. Why? People are taking the piss out of this stuff. You must know. Maybe, I rate Tony Khan really quite highly as a booker. I've said this before. He's feckless. He is feckless. Maybe just the hard lads want to do hard lad stuff. And he says, great.
Do you know who's finally clicked, though? Is Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah.
Last week, he was excellent.
This has been happening for a while, mate.
There's more on this episode that I really liked about him. But I think in the aftermath of Jon Moxley losing the title, he's found exactly what fits, because he's better as the underling mouthpiece of the failing group than the successful one. I didn't like it when
What did he say with Harley Cameron? Pretty hard now to me or something, when he was saying about we're kind of looking out for you.
Kristen, we're kind of keeping an eye on you. And your mate, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's found a certain delivery style now that the Death Riders are kind of on their arse a little bit. That I didn't really like when that little rat said this thing and actually Jon Moxley's made it come true. Now it's your empire's gradually crumbling, but you're we're better than ever, guys. So F you. That suits Wheeler's performance style, I think.
I was just thinking as well all that time. Mr. Nash, it says here you're an accessory to a murder. Do you want to explain what your actions were? I pointed in the direction as Hulk Hogan tried to kill The Rock and he's in an hey, that way.
Triple H getting dropped from the crane.
It's stupid.
8 days later. not even like a cartoon.
Yeah! The troll yell.
That'll teach you from dropping me 40 foot from a crane. Rattlesnake.
Here's the thing, Austin.
Between the heights of 20 to 30 feet in the air,
I am impervious to pain.
we will only sell for 7 days. Between minutes 45 and 50, I will pin you with the pedigree.
Moving on, we got...
Now, as it pertains to jobs, you're looking at the wrong guy, buddy. Okay?
I loved it when he was like, this, the prosthetics. So if this is what it means to you, and then I guess I'm going to retire. Yay!
Oh, it's prosthetic. Triple H is fine. It's Nate in game.
See, just look at my notes here, and we appear to have a women's match in the first hour.
Again? Same last week?
Huh? It's a mistake.
No,
It's a Mercedes thing.
Yeah,
a lot of times she likes to open, and she gets to open.
Was she in last week? Who was it last week? Oh, it was the tag. They're trying.
There was still only one match, mate.
Well, there was briefly last week. I can't remember what it was. There was a Dynamite graphic for a second match, but then it disappeared. It was like up for a bit and then it was gone. Because initially I thought it was like a late edition and I'd seen it on X, but I don't know if it was just somebody wanting like fantasy book something and it might have been.
What was this? Sorry,
I can't remember.
No, it was a fake graphic.
Was it?
I think like the Suri thing.
Maybe. Yeah,
there was a fake graphic going around.
Oh, well.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
No, still just the one.
Irrelevant.
But it was TBS champion Mercedes.
Money.
Versus Alex Windsor.
It's all a bit Brit wrestling.
It's a bit Brit Res, but it's getting over.
Yeah, fair.
Back and forth early on. Mercedes tries for a bank statement. There's a couple of early sharpshooter attempts by Alex Windsor, but at one point Mercedes slips underneath and power bombs her on the
Put it
apron.
this way, you're not going, Alistair Black, are you?
You are not.
Because he's not in the conversation no more. But people are saying, Windsor, and it's becoming a thing, so it's working.
Well, Alistair is in the conversation. People are saying that there's a lot of speculation about what Mr. Black's doing. And,
Oh, you shy. Alistair's doing some jokes.
Have you kept him in the loop for this one?
Yeah. We told him if you listen.
I'm up to speed.
WWE coverage if you're an AEW fan. Just if you're still smarting at Malachi Black's run, have some fun over us in WWE land.
You on holiday for like such a double bubble moment of 2025 in a nutshell, where like Alistair Black's in the ring and he's like waiting very seriously for his big match with R-Truth, who of course has had this banner year where he's like, serious run now. And he hasn't because he's gone to the wrong Dublin.
Yeah, I saw this.
Like,
the
Fed sucks.
I was laughing at that.
The Fed absolutely sucks.
I was laughing at that, and that was pretty funny.
It's been a year of, Christ, that happened, and they did nothing with it. Moments for the Fed, it really has.
Triple H, man, when he sits,
Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank, just meaningless at this point. Meaningless.
Sits back on that episode of Unreal, self-satisfied. Nobody could have called Truth. Nobody. I didn't want to call Truth. I was told by Nick Khan.
Powerbomb on the apron as we go to commercial. When we come back, another attempt at a sharpshooter, but Mercedes kicks free, but runs straight into a blue thunder.
Straight into it.
This time, Alex Windsor puts on the sharpshooter, but Mercedes grabs her hair and gets the statement maker. Windsor powers out of it, but that allows Mercedes to hit a crucifix bomb and a backstabber. Mone runs straight into a pop-up powerbomb, though. They're both down. And then I panic a little bit because Justin Roberts is like, 10 minutes gone. I was like, uh-oh, I know what that means.
I loved it.
Yeah,
loved
looking back now.
Here's something, right? I watched Dynamite kind of bit by bit. Didn't have to really review it, so I was just like, last week. Have they been really emphasizing this of late, or was it just caught it?
They definitely did with the Broodito FTR match.
Mm-hmm.
Aye, but that was going to a draw.
It was,
That's when they do it for some.
They've done it.
That was the one I was like,
a draw.
alarm bells going, yeah.
They've done it for something else recently. I can't remember what it was.
Every single match.
Yeah, I agree.
Every single match.
Normalize it.
When this 10-minute thing came in, I'm thinking, oh, it's getting competitive. It just tells you, it's just all these details matter. Time calls, no music for the entrance. It makes you think, oh, Christ, this is a sport. And it helps suspend my disbelief.
Was that, just sort of jumping ahead a bit, was a time call here something to do with what like allowed for like an impromptu match later on?
They would have mentioned it.
Yeah.
They would have mentioned it.
Or is that what they're trying to create, I guess? You know, like a rules of a universe thing where it's like,
maybe.
well, this
No,
went short,
they would have mentioned it.
They're both down.
A standby slot or whatever.
Yeah.
Alex again goes for the sharpshooter. Mercedes picks the ankle. They spill to the outside, but they're still on. So she reapplies the sharpshooter and Mercedes taps, but doesn't count, of course, out there. They go back and forth. Mercedes tries a Mone maker. Alex Windsor hits a headbutt to get out of a made in Japan for a 2 count. They go up in the corner. Mercedes hit an iconoclasm into a statement maker, but Alex gets a finger on the ropes, but they kick back into the center of the ring. This time Windsor tries to get out of it with a sharpshooter, but Mercedes counters into a roll-up for the 1-2-3. Post-match, Mercedes is trash-talking. Alex Windsor offers a handshake, but Mercedes just flips her off. So they get into it, and Mercedes nails her with the TBS title, puts on the statement maker until who should make the save but a returning Riho to a huge Pap, who comes off the top with a double stomp, hits a drop kick, and grabs the TBS title ahead of the announcement a little bit later on that Riho will challenge Mercedes for that title at All Out.
I was really, really impressed with this in and of itself as a match and in the context of the show. I thought the opener and the main event displayed some neat range, really complemented each other nicely. You had this really strategic sort of like chessy match, singles match, where a lot of like smaller moments were like milked really, really, really well versus this just complete spectacle that was quite incredible in the main event. I was really, really impressed with the storytelling here because it wasn't merely Mercedes is great at bumping and getting killed versus someone who believably looks like they can kill someone like Alex Windsor, who's got that hard-hitting style. Like I thought I was just going to get nothing more out of this. Not that I needed it. It's a TV match than a genuinely really good bit of matchmaking. But I started to really feel something for the Windsor character, not just the wrestler who I think's cool because she hits really hard and is really capable of doing these matches, you know? Like when she was reaching for that rope when she was in the, what she calls it now? It's not the bank statement anymore.
Oh, the statement maker.
The statement maker, the submission, you know? I thought like it was measured and paced so brilliantly and she got to the rope because of the way that it was done, how long it took, how much she believably sold the struggle of doing it. It made you think, oh, like, as she was getting closer to the rope, you thought she was getting closer in turn to, like, actually avoiding defeat. And I loved the spot where it was just, like, that directly led to the finish, where not only did she, so, do the statement maker, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It's a weird name for a submission, that. That should be the name for an impact finisher.
Because she's got the money.
It's her fault.
Isn't she?
Yeah, it's her fault. It's Mercedes' fault, not me for not knowing the name of the move. She does that, Windsor, brilliantly paced, gets to the rope. Then Mercedes kicks off it, rolls over, implies it again. The fact that they go for that the second time, but Windsor is smart, thus telling you, believe in me, I'm good at this, I can really get more. I'm really close to breaking through to that proper A tier of the AEW women's division. And then she smartly reverses like the counter only, and this just again puts over Mercedes' money as being the queen of professional wrestling, not named Toni Storm, you know. That snap roll, like that sort, it wasn't like a roll up, but you know what I mean?
She
That
just sort of sat down on it,
combination was like, oh my God. Like it made you think, oh Jesus, again, like she's inevitable. They are telling you the story over and over again in these matches that the reason why she is so good isn't because the competition isn't there. It's because no matter how smartly you can lay out your strategy, and no matter how clever you can be, even in the context of the match, she's always got that additional bit of thinking that separates her from the rest of the field. Like there was a point in this match, and again, I think a lot of it was Windsor's ability to just pace, and time that crawl to the ropes where you think, and you know, in and it helped as well that the bell call from Justin Roberts. I was thinking the time call. I'm thinking, are they going to go to a draw here?
Yeah.
Or is she going to win the title even? I thought a draw was more likely, realistically.
I thought what they were going to do was, it was going to be Mercedes is finally caught middle of the ring with a sharpshooter on.
Which they did a great job of.
And then she does tap, but the time just runs out, something like that.
No, I thought this is a lot more dramatic than I expected it to be, and they've done a really good job of building her finish, Windsor's finish.
I feel like I've said this
Windsor's finish.
A lot this year, but there's been some...
It's a name?
Yeah. There's been some really good... across both companies, all two of them, just TV title defenses, just like you remember, like proper champions better,
AEW.
Challengers tried and failed.
Yeah,
relatively clean. Sometimes heels have to cheat, but you know what I mean. Like they're relatively clean. It's important, it's important preservation of your champions and your championships. And I think it's a return I welcome, because I'll be the first to criticize a match that, say, in AEW is the sort of thing that blows Sidge's head off. Meanwhile, on Raw, I might like the characters, and Sidge's like, I feel nothing for these people. So there's a lot of TV wrestling that feels like it's going to waste. Whereas these ones, what I would campaign for more of, because your champions should always be protected, your championships should always be, that like the integrity of them should always be preserved. Because what this does now for Mercedes Money is kind of remind you that she's better than everybody else, except Toni Storm. So that just protects your other title as well. You know, there's always that one person that can beat the person that otherwise always wins. So you're keeping two people on an even keel there. It's stuff like this that happens in the background that does so much for the runs when they end. You look back and you almost can't believe she had that many title defenses. She beat that many people. What it took for her to be beaten after she took out all these other people. So yeah, but it's better than maintenance booking. It's maintenance booking at its core, but when the match is as entertaining as this, it's so much more than that as well.
Yeah.
Great to see Riho back. Was it sudden for you for them to put a title match straight on and not like book it after, say, the reaction next week or something?
Well, that's Tony Khan, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
He loves it. He's got the fastest graphics team in the West.
It does. There is something.
It's like that backstage.
Graphics out both sides.
Accidentally leans on it.
Quicker than Grok.
Collision there, Dynamite there. Pay for you at the back. It does. I like seeing Riho back. She'll lose
and go away.
She come to the end. She goes away again. It does sort of counter my own point I was making about how they make the pay-per-views. They kind of remind you every month that the pay-per-views are worth you $50 or whatever it is. Because nobody really had opportunity to make the argument that Riho was a more credible contender than Alex Windsor, but AEW just told you that one's to pay for and one's not to.
The former champion law deal.
I guess
they do build that up.
Legacy,
they do build that up.
Yeah, that's fair. That's like if and when like Hikaru Shida makes the odd comeback, it's like, well, look, legendary figure in the division, gets a shot. Yeah, fair enough.
So Renee's backstage with Joe and Hobbs, asking about what's going on with Hook and the ops. And Joe's like, I'd quite like to know myself, to be honest. Hook walks in and says, I didn't need either of you fighting for me. I'll fight my own battles. And you replaced me before my body was even cold. Hobbs was like, no, we always had your back. Joe said, yeah, look, we did replace you. Yeah, but that's only because opportunity came calling. It's what we do. We take opportunities.
So, right, they're called the ops, and they take opportunities. So is it short for the opportunities?
It is now.
That's what I was inferring.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
The opportunities is not as cool.
Just a thought.
And like, this isn't ideal when Shibata's not around as well. Because like, oh, there's an opportunity right there. I'll take my spot back, thanks. I'm with the ops. Like, three places then.
Fabulous.
Three places new.
Fabulous op birds. They could just have four of them in the op bird the title.
At any given moment.
Yeah.
They should have really done something with Forbidden Door, because then you could have had opportunity knocks. So
good. Trying to knock on a door, but it's a vortex. I'm not getting the noise off it.
They didn't come out to help Hook tonight. They've got their own business to handle. Hook has every right to be upset, but Joe made the call, and Hook needs to realise at some point he'll need their help, and they'll still have his back, whether he wants it or not.
Yeah. I don't care.
You know, when Sid used to
I don't care.
Like, right, it's an AEW pay-per-view. Here we are. We've arrived at that match that like nobody's going to care about. Spoil it, it's the ops one. Like that keeps happening. Like they're not a bad act. They're a purpose-serving, just below the top tier babyface group. But it's very, very hard, I think, to invest in their problems as big ones.
Yeah.
I like all of them individually.
I don't mind them as a group because it sort of takes them out of a lot of individual stuff that I think they'd be taking other people's slots in, taking other people's ops. Just
Subtle opportunities.
I
don't care. Like, if the ops are meant to be, and this is what they are, and it's weird because we've discussed this before, but they are like 3 wrestlers who are total badasses in completely different ways, and yet when you package them as badasses, I find it a little bit cringe for them to do the Inner Turmoil faction story. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Just be hard for 10 minutes and then be gone.
Goodbye, ops.
Ricochet's there saying his problems with the Hurt Syndicate predate.
Pop. Is it? I don't think so.
Did you say ops you pop? Did you say?
Yeah.
Ops you pop.
So
They're the
Ricochet,
trios champions, aren't they?
Off
still?
you op.
Off you up, yeah.
Both-
Huge op.
Do they? I don't know.
The lads backstage in the locker room, like, they're good at opping the boys.
Ricochet says his problems with the Hurt Syndicate predate before AEW. Hurt Syndicate rely on their past accomplishments. Toliona says it's all you've got left. Ricochet and the Gates of Agony are the ones who ended their tag title reign, and now they're going to take their legacy. Ricochet says, unlike the Hurt Syndicate, they're not washed up. Their future's ahead of them. This isn't about a fight. It's about respect. And the challenges laid out for All Out.
Look, I don't necessarily care about this. I did when MVP spoke later because he's amazing on the mic sometimes, isn't he? I thought his promo was great, but I've got one nice thing to say about something about which I don't really care. I'm presuming now because Ricochet, his character is one of the worst tossers, an obnoxious dickhead, and the Hurt Syndicate are cool, so they're the baby faces, and they were wronged by Ricochet and all the rest of it. Like, because you know what goes on, and I don't think they've done a phenomenal job of telling this particular story. It's not like an all-time great narrative or whatever. I'm just thinking, I don't really care who wins or loses because the Hurt Syndicate just completely ducked out of doing a job. So I don't necessarily see them as these cool baby faces that I like and want to get behind. I'm thinking you're just kind of ruining things a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny. They're ducking out of like selling the impact of the loss, really, because they've immediately stopped mentioning the tag team titles. There's been no sort of like, and after this, we're coming for you, Broodito. It's like, we're coming for you. We always win. We're the best.
Yeah,
There's no sort of like, the injustice has almost become this like thing in the background that now we got us. You know what? We're so distracted kicking so much ass that we lost our titles. I guess it's back to ass kicking, Susan.
Yeah, it's just
they're so like,
I don't care about this program. Who wins or loses? This program is the byproduct of some of the most transparent, quite pathetic, fragile ego politicking I've seen in quite some time. So realistically, I'm like, oh well, this is just the byproduct of a really iffy, political finish, right? That's why this exists.
Yeah.
The thing that I promised to say that was nice follows. Ricochet is just not overnight. He's worked really hard at this, and maybe he was decent at it all along, but he never got the chance in the Fed. I was really taken by his promo here. It wasn't anything great. I probably won't even remember it in a couple of weeks' time. But the poise, the confidence, the way he carried himself, it's one thing to be able to cut this kind of promo. He just felt like one of the better promo people in the company. And this is AEW we're talking about, a really good promo company. It's one thing to be able to carry yourself with this confidence when you're getting the push, when you've just got yourself into like the guise of a new character, and when people are starting to rave about your work, to be feeling yourself, what are the kids locked in? It's one thing to be able to be like, cut a really strong interview down the camera when you're on the ascendancy. He's not anymore. He's had the Swerve Strickland stuff, great. The Mark Briscoe stuff, great. Ever since then, it's been like, he's still like around doing things. The fact that he's still got it in him to do this means it's probably like a permanent shift in a skill that he's developed.
Do you want to jump ahead to the MVP response then to this?
Yeah, and then go back.
Yeah. So, there's Renee with the Hurt Syndicate, and MVP's asking, what's happened to Ricochet? He used to be an exciting young wrestler, but he turned into a kiss ass, a whiny hater, leading a bad example for the two young lions in the Gates of Agony. MVP wants to make sure that Ricochet doesn't turn their careers into a punchline. He saw Ricochet say that they'll learn to respect them, but the Hurt Syndicate don't ask for respect. They don't demand respect. They command it. They accept the challenge for All Out. MVP's looking forward to lacing up his boots and punching Ricochet in his disrespectful bitch.
In his dick.
That too.
Is he going to punch him in the dick? Is he? That's what you just said.
It may do. In his disrespectful bitch-made mouth in Toronto, they're going to hurt them.
Delivery was fantastic, and it must have been fantastic because whenever I see the Hurt Syndicate now, I can't invest in them as characters who can really contribute positively to great stories in AEW, which ultimately is why we are here. All I'm going to think about when I see them, and which it's like, well, how contrived is the job you're not going to do?
Yeah.
You can't, when you are so, it's so pathetic, isn't it? Like, it's so pathetic, this need to not do the job. It's been parodied for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. You know what I mean? Like when Hulk Hogan died, I saw more ironic jokes about his refusal to do jobs than I did earnest tributes or contemplative, this is, the complicated legacy. It's people taking the piss out of how much he didn't want to do jobs. Like wrestling fans of a certain age, which is what AEW goes for, deliberately know how all this works, so you can't really pull those tricks, otherwise you'll develop this reputation. Now, whenever I see the Hurt Syndicate, I'm thinking, how are you not going to lose? That's not what I want to watch wrestling for.
I think that, and also, you mentioned, I guess by default now, they're the babyface ass kickers because they're fighting Ricochet in the Gates of Agony. On this very same show, the babyface ass kickers who've just got this brilliant promo about, get them, Hurt Syndicate, on this very same show in the main event, and a quality match at that, were Jet Speed, who these babyface ass kickers kicked the f***ing shit out of and left for dead about a month ago. You cannot place them in this fictional universe and make it make sense.
Yeah.
Because they won't allow that. They're going to protect themselves at all costs. And it's sort of funny, but it does make it really hard to... MJF, theoretically, should slot directly into the middle of all this. He's aligned. He's aligned with Ricochet in the Gates of Agony.
Glad you brought this up. It felt, watching this Dynamite, which if I'm paying attention to it closely enough, there was no explicit mention of MJF whatsoever, was there?
No, I think they want to keep him quiet now because presumably he's going to factor into this. So there's a Mark Briscoe, Kyle Fletcher thing, but then obviously Kyle Fletcher has just arrived in a big way over there. So MJF probably does something, this bit of it, to reheat his thing with Briscoe in order to free Fletcher.
So out of sight, out of mind, so MJF can screw Briscoe.
But he could fit in the middle of this, couldn't he? Because he's...
No, because the Hurt Syndicate don't want to work with him, apparently.
Yeah, we're doing the old fact and fiction stuff again, aren't we, with the Hurt Syndicate?
Yes, you know what I mean?
But he's... it can't just be a total coincidence that he was paired with Ricochet in the Gates of Agony straight before they were set to go into a feud with the Hurt Syndicate. That feels like a bit of AEW storytelling that he's made new friends.
I just thought it was conspicuous that MJF was never mentioned. And in the main event, the way that I don't know what the all-out direction is at all. I don't know. There's just maybe something to keep track of here.
Well, Mark Briscoe comes out to the ring following the Ricochet promo, saying this is the building where he and his brother fell in love with professional wrestling. There's a lovely chant for Jay, of course. It's been guns blazing ever since. In 2025, his focus is on Cole Fletcher, the TNT title. But he's going to have to talk to Don Callis as a result. He says... Callis looks like Elton John dressed up like a prosthetic penis for Halloween.
I quite liked it because it's the shades and he does. He does.
But in order to get a title shot for the TNT title, Callis said he's going to have to defeat one of his henchmen. Let's do it then. Out comes Callis with Rocky Romero and Lance Archer. And Callis says, look, I know you're impatient to get you my answer, but I've been a bit busy with what's going on in the main event. So... Your match will take place on Saturday against Konosuke Takeshita, who comes down to the ring as a face-off with Briscoe, whilst commentary puts over how lean he looks. And then I think Taz reminds Tony Schiavone he's wearing a shirt.
Right, okay. Sorry, I'm going to interject here because I forgot to mention something else that I was annoyed about in the opening segment. They need to tell Taz to take it more seriously, which is so ironic, considering Taz and his reputation and his personality. So Schiavone, as is his job, is trying to put over Takeshita is like this towering, imposing figure. And by the way, he's just won the G1, who the big annual, historic, amazing annual tournament from your working partner. That should be sold as a way bigger deal. If I expected to take Forbidden Door seriously as a concept, they haven't done a good enough job of selling that at all, at least as far as I've seen.
He's been booked as the Okada replacement, isn't he, in all but name?
Yeah.
So they're even saying, like...
Big sell, big... He's won the G1, this guy's won the G1, this guy's won the G1. It should be a massive deal, especially since you're working with them. Anyway, so he comes out, and Schiavone, to his credit, is like, God, he looks amazing. He's trying to put over the talent, as he should as a commentator. And Taz, because his commentary team and the culture around it is out of control at this point... And he's wearing a shirt. How can you tell? And then he did correct himself, Taz, and go, yeah, I get your point. He's a stud. This needs to be stopped. This culture on the commentary team needs to be stopped. And going back to the opening segment, Body Bag Jones. I don't know why he's Alistair Black. But when Taz says, Body Bag Jones. Can you imagine, right? And this is a serious point I want to make because the WWF landscape of 1998 was way stupider and dumber than the AEW landscape of 2025. Yeah. Can you imagine, right? Something happens with someone's getting crimed in 1998, right? And pick a name, it doesn't really matter. And something bad is getting done to them, whether it's like they're getting chloroformed or they're getting put in a body bag or whatever, right? It worked. Well, when it worked, it doesn't work anymore. It's dated horrendously, but it worked at the time in such no small part whatsoever because Jim Ross would sell it like it's the worst thing he's ever seen in his life. Like, really seriously. Yes, there were times he would go, that was stupid, but it had to be really stupid for him to disown it, you know? 9 times out of 10, he'd be like, Gino, back out! Yeah. Back out! He's going to kill him, all that kind of stuff, right?
Foley and Funk going off the stage in the dumpster.
Yeah. Oh my God, Dumpster Jones. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't work.
Big trip after Stage City there, Tony. To the back. Like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the culture surrounding this commentary team, I think I've decided, right, when you're missing a ill-tempered post-prime Jim Ross at the booth, that's an issue. Because we were kind of like burying him at the time when he wasn't altogether in on it, AEW. But I don't know. He's wearing a shirt, Giovanni. How the hell can you tell? Returning Gladiator wins the G1 climax, and that's what you get.
Excalibur just has a big old laugh at it all as well, doesn't he? It just in general now they'll be all bantering along and it's anyway they're wrestling, I suppose. There was once upon a time where he was the anchor of all of this because it was like it's he really believed it.
It's pissing me off. There needs to be a meeting next week.
You know what?
If I'm Tony Khan, I'm calling a meeting next week to say, just like, stop it now. Stop it.
You know what might make you feel better? Quick joke. So, guys, what's the difference between a condom and a coffin, huh?
I don't know, Alistair.
Yeah.
You come in one and you leave in the other, but you need to be stiff to go into both. What I'm talking about that is your body would suffer from rigor mortis after you pass away. Therefore, your body would be incredibly solid in position. The stiff, with the condom side of things, is an erect penis. And when I say come in one, I mean ejaculate, and leave in the other, I mean you will exit your mortal coil. See you later, guys.
Basically, this is Stacks. It's Stacks plus Von Wagner in a Dutch accent.
It sure is.
Alistair explains it all, we call it.
Yeah.
It's a good job we don't do bits because that's like 3.
It's 3 old ones recycled.
How's your bitch? And how's always whinge?
Let's come back. Briscoe's like, come on. Sorry. Takeshi's there. Face off with Briscoe. And Briscoe's like, all right, I'll see you on Saturday to Takeshita. But I want a bare knuckle fight right now. And Rocky Romero fancies it, but Lance Archer is sent in instead and a referee.
You know what I mean? Like, they're both really, really good, talented wrestlers in their own right in different situations. But my God, not now. Not here.
The Callis family being massive was a meme over Forbidden Door weekend when they had the picture of Wardlow joining.
Where's Wardlow?
Yes!
Where's Wardlow?
Where is he? Was he there last week?
Maybe he's
week.
another one conspicuous by your absence, and he could interfere against Briscoe.
He was there as like Callis' heavy. They were very careful in how they involved him, basically. More of a bodyguard than like just getting in on the action sort of thing. It was a bit of a meme, and like people were saying, like, big news, guys. I'm proud to announce that I've joined the Don Callis family. Ha ha ha. And like Don Callis even leaned into it. It's like, careful though, because it is a bit of a piss take. There's 6 of them. Like,
Jesus!
There's so many of them.
You can ready for that one.
There is so many of them. You can like book your show like you're doing a tier list, and it's like, right, who's the rubbish ones in the red? Right, send them 2 out. Like Mark Briscoe can batter either of them. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like you can't mistreat them in the way that you're allowed to, because there's 20 guys. It's not the proper ones.
Yeah, not the proper
It's the Don Callis friends. Not
the best ones on here.
Well, it's been a washout, hasn't it?
Briscoe has to get out of choke slams early, sends Lance to the outside, hits a baseball slide, but jumps into the hands of Archer, who hits a choke slam on the apron, and then Archer turns the steps on their side and choke slams Briscoe onto them as we go to a break. When we come back, Briscoe fights his way back into it, tries some shoulder blocks, they don't work, so instead he hits a clothesline over the top and a somersault suicida after that. They go back inside, Lance manages to avoid a J driller with a backdrop, and a buckle bomb. Another choke slam, gets a 2 count. He wants the blackout, but Briscoe fights free. Shotgun drop kick. Archer wants an avalanche choke slam, but Briscoe bites his way free. Sunset bomb and a froggy bow gets Briscoe the 1-2-3.
Lance Archer might as well be 5'10" at this point. Like, I've had a great time with Lance Archer over the years. Not anymore. You cannot beat a guy that big so often. We've been having this conversation since like 2021.
Yeah.
You know, Dunsky Jones. This was nothing, this match. Absolutely nothing. I like the choke slam on the stairs. That was good. This felt so flat. Like, no one can take Archer seriously anymore. Like, maybe he needs to go elsewhere, then come back or something, but this was nothing.
I'm a little bit kinder to it, if only because Mark Briscoe, and it's still such a tightrope with him, but he is finally like sort of cross the Rubicon from the guy that gets beat in matches like this to the one that wins them. And it did feel for a while like your investment was going to waste, and it was time to just sell you stock, like love him forever, but sell your stock in him being a guy. And it feels like they've corrected that. And it does, like, I don't think he'll beat Kyle Fletcher, but only because he's still involved with MJF. If Kyle Fletcher was ready to move onwards and upwards, he could lose upwards, and he could like lose that title to Mark Briscoe, and I'd buy it. I do think they've course corrected with Mark Briscoe. They realise how much people love him, and they'd rather love him winning most weeks than losing.
Earlier on in the day, there's timeless Toni Storm in an empty 2300 arena saying she wants the attention of the Philadelphia Freaks. Insanity is relative, so she promises to be the most bat bitch to piss in this sink.
I like that.
She's a character in search of a plot. No forever champion or belt collector could take the title from her. Any woman with a pulse. Come one, come all, play the role. Give me everything. God doesn't judge, but don't worry, that's my job.
That last line I didn't really like very much. Thought she'd written that. You know, when you write a sentence, and God knows as a pretentious writer, I know all about this. You write a sentence and you go, I am the boy. And then like 2 years later, you're like, I'm a dickhead.
Edit that out.
I think 2 years later, she'll probably look back on that and go, oh, not my best line. Doesn't matter. What matters is she has invited you to fantasy book her next opponent, and that's what I want to do now. Maybe on the preview next week.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it, because I expected more all-out card stuff on this Dynamite, and if anything, I'm less sure than I was 24 hours ago.
Feels like they're scrambling a little bit.
Well, I was going to be generous here then, maybe, because do you think
my voice better not be going? I can feel it.
Do you think it's strategic? Do you think they know that WWE is about to play 2 massive hands, probably as early as this week on SmackDown? They've done the Lesnar teasers and Cena's in the house, and you're going to get the AJ Lee one. Let WWE have the weekend. Let WrestlePalooza take shape in the way that we all think it will do.
Yeah.
To the point where by Monday you know what the meat of that card is, and then a week, 2 weeks out, we're like, kiss my ass, look at this, and this. Now it's this Sunday, or this Saturday, get hyped. Like, I wonder if they've held stuff back this week on purpose.
Potentially.
Then we're backstage with Chris Statlander and Harley Cameron. She's got the mask on. Her face is still busted up. But the wrath wasn't in the mask. It was inside her all along, and she tears it off.
Another ass in the face paint.
Yeah. But Cameron announces they're undefeated, so they're going to challenge Broodito for the tag titles. But Chris says, maybe just stick to Ford and Bane and the Triangle of Madness, like they talked about. In comes Wheeler Yuta, as we mentioned, saying that the Death Riders have got Statlander's back. And Cameron says, you can tell if anyone's looking out for us, it's us, basically. Marine Shafir says, and Statlander said for them to tell our friend that she got his message. Yuta says he'll relay it before he leaves, and Cameron says, they seem fun.
I don't know what to think about any of this. I don't know if I like any of it. I don't know. It's all a bit wholesome, goofy for my kind of tastes to begin with, so maybe I'm not the right person to judge its quality. Statlander is doing silly stuff with Harley Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
What was her problem with Willow Nightingale at the last time of asking?
The fact that they've feuded on and off, been friends, been enemies, and now Statlander's kind of made a peace with everybody, but her and Willow can't quite commit to like hugging or handshaking or anything yet. Like even in 8-women matches, they're like they'll high five other partners but not each other, and there'll be the occasional miscommunication where one will hit the other, and that sets them back a little bit. Yeah. And Statlander's, if she was to join this like new NU Death Riders with say Daniel Garcia, that would be the turn. Or she's going to say, no, John Moxley, I won't. Like,
oh, hang on. Hang on.
Yeah.
Because I think the idea would be as well, like Statlander keeps doing wacky stuff backstage, and yet it's always the Death Riders are like a magnet because wrestling's so contrived of, making a fool of myself in front of like the hard people who I might want to join or whatever. I've got an idea. So the court, this has been going on for a while, so I don't know if it's the original plan, but they could court Chris Statlander. Come on, you're better than this. Stop goofing around. Look at all the physical gifts you possess. You could be running that women's division instead of dicking about backstage and Just like, all right, okay. She's thinking Statlander. Okay, I might. In fact, I will. No. If they beat up Willow in front of her and ask her as an initiation, you got to beat her up. Show that you are ruthless enough to want this. Who wants it? And she's like, no, I can't. She's my friend. So Statlander rejects the Death Riders, aligns with Willow, but here comes Shayna Baszler to team up with Marina Shafir, and that's a tag team feud.
I like that.
That could be something.
I like that a lot.
And you like Shayna Baszler, don't you?
I do, yeah. I do like the sound of that. That's a great bit of booking. Then we got the tag title match. It was Broodito.
If it hadn't been for Broodito, I've just realized that team I like. Where did they come from? Where did they go?
Where did you come from, Broodito?
Should they have won? Or should they have just gone with FTR? Because I think I'm quite pleased that they've struck while the iron's hot with Broodito. But again, to my point about the Hurt Syndicate, it's not the best start for their reign.
It isn't, but look how over they are.
Yeah.
I think there's an acceptance among, again, I will reiterate, everyone knows how this stuff works. And I don't think people are strong because the Booker protected them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it reflects badly on wrestlers who don't play politics anymore, especially in the context of AEW. Look who has tried to play politics, look who's pouted backstage, and look where they are now. I mean, people are so involved and aware of how this stuff works that whoever tries to play these old corny tricks, they're just detected immediately.
Yeah.
Miro, Andrade, Malachi, gone. Like the Hurt Syndicate are seemingly the latest part of that lineage, whereas Brody King, who's more over than like Malachi and Andrade were, like Miro was, you know what I mean? Like he's done job after job after job after job after job this year. It's a new way of like wins and keeping yourself winning and winning and winning. And obviously it's going to matter to a point, but when you're so naked about it and haven't been seen to earn those wins, the fans would rather back someone who's lost loads of matches.
Yeah.
Look at how over Brody King, we were saying a matter of months ago, he's doing too many jobs. evidently he wasn't.
Fans back losers.
Yes!
That's not a new normal.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's one to watch.
It's a new thing.
It's Broodito versus the Death Riders, Claudio and Yuta. Early on, Claudio and King get in there and just twat each other.
Oh my God.
Copyright.
Yeah. So hang on, we've had Cotton Eye Joe, Mambo number 5. We're about to get the Macarena in here. Bandito started doing it. King. I'm good.
But he's going to do it now one day. And that's going to be weird, isn't it?
The Macarena, famously recorded by God's Hate. I love that.
In amongst all this, there was an amazing stalling vertical suplex on Claudio. But as Bandito comes off the top for a dive after that, freakish strength from Claudio again, just stops him in midair and gets him up for a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, sends him to the floor. Yuta just kicks him a bit as we go to a commercial. When we come back, Brody King makes the hot tag, nails Yuta and Claudio, puts him in the corner, hits a double cannonball. Then Bandito Hurricane Rana's his own partner, which means King does a cannonball onto Claudio.
Oh my God.
Creativity of these guys is awesome.
Bandito tries for a frog splash, but crashes and burns. Yuta comes in. So does King, though. Broodito chops the back of Yuta, which obviously has got still had the after effects of the tax from earlier. They set up for that monkey flip 450 thing that they do, but Marina Shafir trips up Bandito, allowing Claudio to hit him with an uppercut. Shafir distracts the referee, and that allows Mox to show up and post King. There's a fastball special on Bandito, but he kicks out at 2. A giant swing. Yuta hits the dropkick as he's going round. King gets in there to break the count now. Claudio takes the ref. Moxie's going after King again. But Darby Allin sprints out, brawls with him at ringside. King hits Claudio with a big forearm. So same for Yuta. And Yuta's in place for the 21 plex from Bandito for the 1-2-3. Post-match, Mox and Claudio chase Darby out of the arena as Broodito stand tall with their titles.
I thought this was excellent. Not excellent. I thought it was very, very, very good. I had a great time with it. The creativity from Broodito, who's just... It's like Tony Khan's really, really clever, goddammit. I'm not giving him all the credit for this team, but obviously he books them. He's still very savvy when he's got this still overstuffed roster of... Like, it feels like a really cool meritocracy, this Broodito stuff of, right, Brody King's really over, Bandito's really over, but I'm pushing this male singles wrestler in this position tag team. And he's like, actually, they would make a great tag team. What a contrast they've got between the physiques and the styles. It's worked perfectly. This is another great night for Broodito. I love watching him in the ring. The bit where Brody King countered the Cesaro springboard uppercut and by just manhandling him was like proper Clash of the Titans stuff. Had a great time with this. Really, really great time.
Yeah, same. The overlapping with the Darby Allin Death Riders story I thought was really nicely done here because it didn't make Broodito feel like they were passengers in something bigger than what they're up to. Which is
I'd like Brody King and Darby to have a little acknowledgement of because they've had like that long history.
Aye, and you might there's a 6-man match or there's other stuff that you could use.
Brody throws Darby and then Bandito hits a Hurricane Runner on Brody.
I made this point last week, right? One of the best things about Broodito's composition is that because Bandito's a luchador, it makes you think of Big Guy plus Rey Mysterio. One of those tag teams, right? Where like whether it was Edge or
as strong as Brody King.
He's as strong as him. And I said, like last week, I was like, there is so much more they can explore that subverts your typical expectation because they've developed
the
Lucha Dogs. Because they've established this finisher where it's all about the leg strength of Brody King to basically kind of create enough space for Bandito to do it. It shouldn't work, but it does because he's a big guy and whatever. But then you flip it and it's boiling hot all over again. He just did what? But there's so many more things to do with them as a team that you wouldn't expect just simply because Bandito's in a mask.
Yeah.
It's great.
21 Rex.
Because the Brody Dogs.
Yes. Dog stuff in it. Brilliant. Renee's in the parking lot with Okada, who talks about the tension between him and Takeshita. Says, I'm the alpha. No, sorry. Takeshita's the alpha. He calls himself the alpha, but I'm the Rainmaker, the top dog of the Don Callis family, bitch.
Is that going to be as soon as All Out?
I don't think so. Maybe, because it'd be class and they'd probably try and have it as an awkward handshake between the family members match.
Yeah.
But it does feel like one there. I think it's Continental Classic. Or
Yeah.
Unified Classic, or whatever they're going to call it.
Yeah.
Because he's just won a G1. He's basically announced himself as the best tournament wrestler in the world. And he's like, I am. And they have that.
Yeah.
With the last of the block matches or something.
Just thinking of like, AEW people who've been in the G1. Did John Moxley win it on his first try?
No, I did. First try.
This is when we got the chat with the Hurt Syndicate, and then out comes Cope to cut a promo regarding FTR, but he's jumped before he can make his entrance. Well, as he's making his entrance, Cage hits the ring to make the save. Security get in there. They get beaten up. Dax gets busted open. There's a load of wrestlers from ROH, I think it was, who get in there. Jordan Oliver takes a spike pile drive for his troubles. Adam Priest gets pie-faced by Dax and fires up. The crowd starts chanting for him. And they talk about their history on a recent collision. And it's all chaos, but we don't get to hear from Cope and Christian.
What a shame.
I like all this, mate.
No, it's been better recently. It's been better recently.
The one in Glasgow was really good.
Yeah,
I like that.
I still don't want to,
I can't wait for the match. Love the whole act. Love the whole deal. Glad they've done it. Glad they've seen it through.
Just don't go 35 minutes.
New.
I mean, that's a real concern.
Treat yourself to 16.
No, it's going to go 25. It's going to go 20 minimum. 20. If this goes 19 minutes, I'll be astonished.
That's a great game to play on the preview, though.
Yeah.
That's otherwise. This was a nice little, without being like sort of too on the nose, a nice little tribute to ECW. This, because they would often send the jobbers out, and you would have like a 911 or a Sandman with a cane kicking ass. Like the brawls would overlap between segments and stuff. And it's like, oh, here come the losers from Ring of Honor. Well, I guess not losers. Maybe fans back losers.
Yeah.
Adam Priest.
Yeah.
Like
he's going to get a partner for Collision, I believe. Yeah, that was happen later.
I thought the chaos was quite nice. I thought here.
I was really excited, looking forward to Forbidden Door, thinking, oh, what a nice surprise. I get to see Cope and Christian as a tag team.
Oh, yeah, you missed it, didn't you?
Missed the entire show. Didn't see any of it.
That's Forbidden Door.
They got stuck in traffic.
We were on the
You're joking. Not another one.
Missed the entire. Well, literally, we were on the. What was it? M5 or was it? I can't remember.
Because I was having like a pint before the show. I was
He
like,
was
oh,
like,
we're here,
yeah,
by
come
the
on,
way.
come on, join us for a pint. And I was like, I'm pissing by the side of the motorway, brother. We just stuck on there for 5 hours. Thanks, guys.
You gotta laugh.
We also got a video package here for Daniel Garcia versus John Moxley on Collision on Saturday, of course.
I'm gonna watch that.
No, same. They've got great chemistry. I'm into the story. Aye.
There was a dance-off at Sweet Chin Disco between Swerve and Daniel Garcia. And I'd learnt the gritty, as you saw.
I did see.
Tempted to go on stage and kind of show them all up, but I thought, no, let them have their moment.
So you know how to do the gritty now?
Yeah.
Let's build it up and do it on the podcast where you can come into shot and do it all around here. At some point, we have to...
Yeah, we've got to make them pay for that.
Make them pay.
Can I tell the story? Because I'm telling Sidgwick, I think for the first time, of the technical issue that you experienced. And by the way, styled out magnificently.
Oh, God, yeah. That was like nightmare fuel for me.
So Wilbourn came on.
First thing, this is.
Yeah. He's excellent at this, by the way. I've seen him in action a few times. Holds the night together. IMO. And he comes out and he's there to welcome the people. People followed him pretty quickly, so the dance floor's filling up. Big venue.
Like prick stick.
Thanks very much.
Yes. And he's wanting to say, here's what's coming up tonight, Full Night of Entertainment. Nigel
Good
Williams.
evening, Wembley.
Yeah. Nigel
Not
Williams
Wembley,
is going
but
to do magic
London, you know.
and all that. Swerve's going to be here. We've got switching. But like, you can sort of hear his voice because the music stopped, but you can't hear it because the microphone's not working. And it's like, So he just goes off politely, and then the music plays, and they're like, right, we'll go round 2. Does it again. Again, doesn't work. So it's like, right, we're going to need to really rethink this. So he goes off stage, and at this point, has obviously like either tested it or has been given something that, look, he's a broadcast professional. He knows it's going to work. So he's like, right, I've got to make this one count because I'm kind of looking a bit of a tit here, and it's not my fault.
You effed up chance coming.
Knowing that it's working, he runs on stage with all the vim and vigor and excitement of, hello, Wembley, hello, the Arena. Like, literally runs on stage saying it, and it doesn't work again.
It was real. There was real problems, guys.
Started getting heat, started getting booed.
And I'm like, what'd I do?
Boo the guy in the tuck. Boo me, a host. Comes on, like nobody else better, as you well know, to style that sort of thing out than Wilbourn. It's like, we're working now. But the run with the,
because the tech guy, he works it out, no heat on him or anything like that. But the tech guy was like, it's working now. So I was like, oh, good, here we go. Third time working, oh, no one can see me still. Hello, everybody. I'm like that. No, still not doing anything.
McGuinness was pretty good.
He was.
The old Mr. Magic.
Mr. Magic.
It was pretty good. Yeah. I was like, all right then.
Magic's good. I've told
I know.
He was very impressive. I watched that show twice. And I was like, I have genuinely no idea how you're doing this.
I did. What a turnaround. I liked his match against. I'm a little Nigel McGuinness guy. Never thought I'd see the day.
Oh, I was going to say you're Nigel McGuinness, Mark. I forgot to mention Don Callis saying, well, Mark, over and over again during the promo, like unnecessary. It's already funny when you say, very good, Adam. It's always good. It's quite funny and cruel when you say someone's forename when you wouldn't, when you shoehorn it in, it's for a reason. You're trying to patronize them. But when his forename is Mark, magnificent stuff.
We're at the main event of the evening.
We sure are. My God.
It was, Don Callis' family, represented by Carl Fletcher and Josh Alexander. Getting a win. And the Young Bucks, with a graphic reading, these guys again. They did get the EVP entrance music, but there was also a $20 meet and greet that they showcased in amongst all this.
I thought the footage was good.
Yeah.
Aye. They did it because they did that. Was it at the O2 as well or something like that? They had another UK, one of the dates that went in the UK, and they've gone to the trouble of making the wrestling superstar Virgil banner for them and the details just right on it. It's like, I can't fault this the more they continue to care that much about the stuff they're doing for
every
it.
time I think, it's probably getting a bit too cute, it pops me again, so I shouldn't be such a bitch.
It's being the elite that we liked, I think, this bit.
Yes. The babyface team, though, of course, world champion Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, and Jet Speed. We go to a break pretty early on after all the heels get hit with a quadruple slingshot dive. When we come back, there's a hot tag to Mike Bailey, who runs wild, but then Josh Alexander catches him with a released German suplex. Nick Jackson, I believe, comes in, but eats a missile dropkick from Kevin Knight, it was, yeah. There's a drop kick in there from him, but then Nick gets the knees up on a splash. Matt comes in for a rolling Northern Lights, but there's a tornado DDT from Kevin Knight and a double down. Page comes in and hits a fall-away slam on Matt Jackson. Josh Alexander eats a springboard lariat. Fletcher comes in. Omega and Page hit that awesome pop-up German that they do together. But Josh saves Carl Fletcher from a V-trigger buckshot combo. Fletcher takes out Omega with a dive and runs at Page. But there's a huge pop-up powerbomb from Hangman Page for a big reset.
Oh, my God.
The bounce. It was on Fletcher, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the bounce on it was unbelievable, Jeff.
Mike Bailey and Josh Alexander fight to the apron. And Mike Bailey tries that backflip double knees, but there's no one there. And Josh squashes Bailey with a running crossbody. They go to the barricade. Josh Alexander wants a pile driver, but in flies Kevin Knight with a clothesline.
Kevin Knight was unbelievable in this match, by the way. In case I forget to point that out, he was unbelievable.
Everywhere, wasn't he?
Aye. The timing required for all of this was just so impressive.
There was a TK driver on Knight following this, and then there was one on Bailey on the floor as we go to a second commercial. When we come back,
that's them doing the thing where they change their mind mid-match. We'll get him first. So good.
Yeah.
Classic Bucks.
Classic Bucks.
It's just like they're setting something up. Him, actually.
Yeah.
The energy that they knew, they're, preaching the choir here, but they knew, well, even this arena aren't going to see this one coming.
Yeah.
Have some of that. It's like a sort of injection, isn't it? Oh, man.
This is amazing.
When we come back from that break, was it the Umbop drop?
Yeah.
Like a double stomp bounce back power bomb that they do.
I love it.
On Mike Bailey. But Omega gets the hot tag, and Fletcher comes in. They go back and forth. Big boots, V-triggers. They counter one-winged angels and brainbusters. Omega escapes, and everyone gets hit with snapdragons. The Bucks come in, though, and there's a face-off between the Young Bucks and, of course, Omega and Page.
Oh, my God.
I went mental for this.
Oh, God. Brings back memories.
Nick accidentally takes out Matt with Was it a buckshot or was it
Yeah.
super? Yeah.
Timing.
Hangman
These
ducks it, doesn't
these
he?
guys, these four guys together are sublime at a level. They're so good that it makes you regret using really sort of positive synonyms for other wrestlers and wrestling matches because you've run out of the best words. Like the way that they are the timing of these exchanges, like the near misses, like when they go like the V trigger buckshot, like the ducks, they're incredible together. These four, it's disgusting. Everyone else looks like they suck.
You're right.
Yeah.
I was thinking this because it was reminding me of like when you first started watching and I don't even mean formula in a bad way, but when you first started watching the Ricochet Ospreay formula match years back, and you're like, yeah, but that's not a bad thing. Look at what they're making look easy.
Yeah.
They do this like, so, well, these guys can wrestle each other in their sleep. Yeah, but they can wrestle each other to this standard in their sleep.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
They are so great.
Same brain stuff.
Oh my God. The telepathy is outrageous. Sorry, I know this is a difficult one to begin with.
Yeah, if I lose my place, I do apologise. I think this we're at the bit with the V trigger by Omega. Page wants a buckshot, and then he stops because Matt saves his brother, and then the Bucks take him out. Again, crowd are just going bonkers at this point. Then you've got the TNT champion, Carl Fletcher, going after the world champion, Hangman Adam Page. Fletcher avoids a dead eye. They trade tombstones. Fletcher hits one and gets a 2 count off the back of that. Meanwhile, Mike Bailey takes out Nick Jackson. Matt and Carl Fletcher take out Bailey with double super kicks. Knight tries a UFO splash. Fletcher gets his knees up. He wants the avalanche brainbuster, but Bailey makes the save with an avalanche poison rana. Bailey lands into a super kick party. Nick takes out Omega and Page with a dive. There's an assisted tombstone by Matt Jackson and Josh Alexander, and Fletcher hits a sheer drop brainbuster on Kevin Knight for the 1-2-3.
This is outstanding, and I feel like such an arsehole for doubting how good it was going to be because over the past month and a half, I'm like, I'm kind of done with these all-star 8-man tags, and they're doing a women's one on Collision, and it's like, it's critical acclaim doping. I feel like I could book Dynamite. I said, so I'm not going to go like too far into it, but if you remember at the time, 2019, I said I could book NXT, and that's the thing I like least about it. I just find it so easy to put together. It doesn't inspire me at all. To a degree, that is true of half of the Dynamites I've been watching of late. This match was so goddamn great. It wasn't just the law of Revolution 2020 and how well they worked with each other and the individual performances. Like, even by the standards of this sort of match, I could scarcely believe how impressive it was. Like the pace they were going, the way they built to the spots, the way that they had 2 different peaks, like each one before like the commercial and the finish. Like this was so intricate, and the timing required to pull it off without a hitch and in turn to not make it look contrived was absolutely sensational. And it wasn't just as well the timing required to pull it off, this unbelievable structure of a match that's calibrated to make you louder each time, louder than the last. Go, oh, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. That's the kind of match that they were trying to do. And I said, Jesus Christ, louder each and every time as each sequence finished or got counted or tweaked or whatever. Like, just by the standards of this genre, which I was kind of getting a little bit bored of, this was the most locked in, tight as hell. But it wasn't just as well, again, the pacing and the timing and all the rest of it. The execution of each individual move. Something special happened in that arena last night when this was going on. Like the bounce from that pop-up power bomb. Kenny Omega with the V-triggers just looked like it was rocking Kyle Fletcher's jaw. Just everything looked inch perfect. And Kevin Knight kept up with some of the best wrestlers of all time. Just like that. I thought he was sensational as well. And I'm going to say one more thing about it because I'll let Hamflett talk. And there's not much more to say. You know what kind of match it was, but you don't know how much they nailed it until you see it for yourself if you've not, in fact, seen it already. Like, and I mean this in the most well-meaning way imaginable, because if you're a long-term fan of the podcast, a long-time listener, you know how much Kenny Omega's my favorite wrestler of all time. And I'm very creepy about him at times, or very, I want to look after him. I worry about him. So, you've seen Seinfeld.
Yeah, not religiously, though.
Right. There's an episode of Seinfeld where the protagonist, Jerry Seinfeld, he dates a hot broad every single episode.
Nice.
Sounds like my kind of show. What's it called again? Seinfeld?
So in one of the...
Early Entourage, this. I like it.
One of the... It is significantly better than Entourage, you prick.
Real Boss Baby 2 vibes.
One of...
show he's watched.
One of... One of the women who he dates is like this knockout when he sees her at a party. And then when he goes on a date with her, she's not quite as attractive. And then he determines she looks good in some lights and not others. So he has to position her in the same... He has to take it to the same place in the same booth for every date that they have because that... So it's quite funny. Kenny Omega's like from one week to the next. And this is a guy who's recovering from one of the most serious illnesses ever.
Yeah.
And he says himself, like, some days I feel great, other days it just really gets to us. You know, his guts are taped, literally taped together. They're not stitched together, they are taped together. So I never know. I feel like so impressed with him on his better nights because there are times when he looks really quite slow and laboured and towards the finish. And yes, I understand that a match like this will help him because he can sell for a long period. But my God, he looked like Kenny Omega again. Even his physique physically changed from last week to this. So I feel like the fact that we are getting these nights out of Kenny Omega, I'll never, ever take it for granted. And the guy deserves all the respect and love in the world because last week I'm thinking, God, he doesn't look great. God bless him. And then this week, he looked like, and I understand an 8-man, he can kind of hide if you like. He looked tremendous when it was his turn to do the stuff, especially in there with Paige in the books. And you just never know, like, and he himself doesn't know. What if he has, like, a big match lined up that they've really built towards and cares about, and then he just wakes up one day and just feels rubbish, and he has to go and do it. Like, all the respect in the world for Kenny Omega.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we'll get to it, I suppose, but they're building in increasingly, like, more breaks and write-offs for him than they used to as well, you know? And that's they're trying to take care in that regard and maximise how much they can get out of him. Yeah, not a lot to add. This was... But then... Yeah, to Sidge's point, I guess, about the, like, no, get back in that light. I still think, even when they don't have the perfect record they used to have, the right light for the Jerry Seinfeld date is the Young Bucks. Like, a lot of these matches I find so drab on Dynamite, or it's because I'm not interested in the characters and the work simply isn't enough for me, spoiled wrestling fan who watches both companies. Like, it's the right light is still the Young Bucks. It is. And, I can say that as somebody that does go hot and, I wouldn't say hot and cold with their work, but hot and cold in my investment in what they're up to. I think sometimes I mirror their investment, actually. I think sometimes they give away too much that they're not that arsed. Yeah. But I feel like for quite a while now, they've been pretty arsed. And as a result...
They've been very arsed recently, I think.
And they still are the right light. I felt it when in the cage match when it was them and the Golden Lovers. And I've been as low as anybody on Kota Ibushi, but they did the same thing where it was like all of a sudden the action just arrives at these four and they know what they're doing and why that means so much. And it happened again here with Paige and Omega, and you knew it would, but you were no less excited when they got there. And the wrestling...
I'd actually forgotten that's how good this match was.
Yeah.
It was so dizzying and exhilarating that when they decided to do the 2020 Revolution callback, I'm like, oh, I forgot this is the best bit.
Well, that's
still to come.
That's what I love about this, is sometimes when you're working towards that, and it's not any of the wrestler's fault, but sometimes the wrestling can be a bit incidental to it, and it wasn't here. Like, not by a long shot as well. This was magic. I remember months ago, Sid was the one saying this all the time. Stop talking about the soul of AEW, the spirit of AEW. Stop talking about it for ages. Book a good show, and then do something that reminds people what that spirit, what that soul actually is. It's this.
Yeah. So post-match, the Bucks brawl with jet speed to the back. Josh Alexander and Carl Fletcher beat down Paige and Omega. Out comes Rocky Romero and Lance Archer to get involved as well. They set up a chair in the middle of the ring, and Fletcher hits Paige with a brain buster through it. Omega covers up Paige, and there's a table set up at ringside. Omega tries fighting off, but obviously the numbers game catches up to him. And Carl Fletcher hits him in that damaged guts of his with a broken chair. He drags Omega to the apron and hit a brain buster through the table, whilst Don Callis is just loving every second of this.
I loved how he exploded in laughter like a millisecond after impact. He was like in hysterics. What a bastard. What a total prick.
Carl Fletcher's back's busted open. Meanwhile, Kenny Omega's doing his best Will Ospreay impression because he was holding it and then basically saying,
"Oh, my neck!"
The show goes off the air with the Callis family standing tall and Paige and Omega down and out.
This, to me, had the opposite effect of the Roman Reigns Paris beatdown, in that I felt nothing for that because it was like, oh yeah, he's going away. He goes away all the time. You can't write out someone who is out like 45 weeks of the year. Oh my God, we're not going to see Roman Reigns for a while.
That was me in the crowd in Paris. I was absolutely devoed in Paris. Absolutely devoted.
Shut up, man.
I love
this. Had the opposite effect,
like that too.
which makes it a significantly better angle. Getting tribal. Because
you could argue you're a tribal thief because they're stealing WWE's best.
Shut up, man.
Yeah.
Because on one, the stretcher job, WWE.
Yeah, they invented it.
Shut up, you idiot. On one hand, this could be...
They've kind of invented shoe law with Roman Reigns, haven't they?
Alex Windsor's in trouble.
On one hand, given that he got stretchered before Allin, and now he's been stretchered again, this could be the second phase of the Cope life, where he's going part-time, and to explain the absences, you know, the Cope concerto cycle, you know. But until that keeps happening, and I start to maybe roll my eyes a bit, or just go, oh, don't care about that angle, because he just needs some time off. So if anything, you're doing him a favor. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Until that starts to become a really frequent pattern, my feeling was, Fletcher, you dick. He's just come back. And look at him. He looks better than last week. He looks great. He's only just come back. And he not again. He's just come back. So I was actually quite pissed off with the heel.
I really like that idea, by the way, as a heel. Going, no, I'm not going to hit you with this chair because you have to come back next week now.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Did you see Don Callis' promo on Hangman Page last week, by the way? Which is obviously led us. It's so funny. Like, Hangman Page got the belt in the ring, and Don Callis comes out and he says, like, we'll be taking that. But he makes the point. He says, Hangman, the world champion again. I remember this because the last time you won it from me. And he's like, well, I was represented by a weakling, and he wouldn't even like name Kenny Omega as the said weakling as well. And then just watching like his latest squeeze in Kyle Fletcher, put this weakling, like half kill this weakling, like, and then laugh about it. Callis is into it. Makes me think, because again, I can't nail this direction, but a little bit of me is wondering, because you would have thought, Fletcher Briscoe, all out, MJF gets involved. That's probably still where they'll go. Like, Fletcher versus Hangman Page, but only Page's title's on the line.
That's what I thought they were going to go with.
Fletcher can lose.
Yeah.
But it's a kind of gets him this close, and Page like, Callis is like, and then all of a sudden, Page has had 2 title defenses, and he's made 2 new enemies in MJF and Don Callis, who all are out for blood.
Yeah.
Like, and the match would kick ass.
They've had one on Dynamite, and it was awesome.
Like, I don't know if you headline the show with it, but you could, and it would be a nice experience for Fletcher.
Now we're getting Cope and Christian and FTR for 40 minutes headlining that show. You are. Dread it, run from it. It's FTR.
They can't, I don't know, I think you got to put Page on last. This one. That's 2 in a row.
Yeah, it's Toronto, buddy.
Yeah. Aye.
Pasty bet?
I don't know.
I'll dwell on that.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Because we'll see what the match
We'll revisit
is.
this next week.
You'll know, I think, when the match gets, like, because I thought last week it was Page Omega.
Look who's on the poster. It's all about Cope.
Yeah.
Don't know why you would do that, but all about Cope.
It's WWE all over again because it's Cope and Christian's here too.
Yeah,
that was exactly how they promoted Edge and Christian.
But anyway, let us know your thoughts on AEW Dynamite, either in the comment section or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch, you can follow all 3 of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE, and make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Wacky Summer is officially over, ladies and gentlemen. But for now, this has been the Dynamite Review. My thanks to Hamflett, Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.